So in one of the latest mock drafts I've seen, Shedeur Sanders was actually predicted to get drafted by the Raiders. Now I know immediately when I say that, everyone is going to start going crazy in the comments, but in January, we can make all the hypotheticals we want. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what scenarios could make this happen, if I think Sanders is a good fit for this team, and also just everything going on right now, because as we are approaching the offseason, the Raiders have so much to do if they finally want to get back on the right track. And the great thing is that they have someone to build around. Brock Bowers is looking like he could be a generational player to build a foundation around at tight end. Now it's about getting him a reliable guy under center. But before I begin, today's video is sponsored by Southern New Hampshire University. SNHU has one of the largest nonprofit online degree offerings in the country. It's also super affordable. They have a sports management degree in business and economics of sports, and their innovative program has been preparing students for careers in sports for more than 25 years. So if you're stuck in a job you hate, or you're just looking to further your knowledge and skills to turn your interests into a career, then SNHU is for you. I would highly suggest you click my link and check out the different programs they have available. Your courses are taught by faculty with real-world experience, so you'll have opportunities to connect with people in the industry, and when you graduate, SNHU will still be there to help as you begin your job hunt. You also might be eligible for financial aid or have previous college credits that could fast-track your degree at SNHU. Again, the link is snhu.edu/SpencerPremier, and it will be at the top of my description. Alright, so getting straight to the point in regard to Shedeur Sanders, honestly, I would not be shocked if he's drafted number 2, and I wouldn't be shocked if he gets drafted 10th. I think he's shown the ability to make any throw from anywhere on the field, and he's shown the ability to put a team on his back, but at the same time, we never really got to see him play against the powerhouse teams in college, like Ohio State, Georgia, really any of them. But at the same time, you look at someone like Josh Allen who played at Wyoming, and he didn't either, and he made it just fine. So here's the thing, Mike Borgonzi is now in charge of Tennessee, and there were rumors developing that he was not going to pass up on a generational talent. And to me, when I think of generational talent, I think of Travis Hunter. And the Browns at pick number 2 really don't seem to be going the direction of taking a QB, so that could possibly give the Giants Cam Ward. And New England and Jacksonville are not going to use a pick that high on a QB, so realistically, Shedeur could be a Raider. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you guys think about that in the comments below. And then another thing that everyone is talking about is the possibility of Russell Wilson becoming a Raider and reuniting with his old head coach in Pete Carroll. This definitely would be a blast from the past, and right now, I don't think there is a team with more storylines and different possibilities than the Raiders. Last season in Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson was fine. He was good enough to get you by as a starting QB, throwing for 2,482 yards with 16 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. Wilson at this point obviously is not a guy that's going to win you a Super Bowl, but like I said, he's a guy that can keep the ship afloat, and he just has so much experience, so I think it would be great if they signed him, drafted a young QB, and then allowed him to teach whoever that quarterback may be how to be successful in the NFL. And Russ is still good enough to allow Bowers to break out into his fullest potential. And then Pete Carroll just seems like a guy that is going to coach until he dies. And this was an interesting hire by Las Vegas to say the least. And this kind of seemed like one of the worst kept secrets in football over the last few weeks because everyone knew that this was going to happen. Now here's the thing, Pete Carroll is 73 years old. He signed on like a 3-year deal, so by the time that his term is gonna end, he will be around 76 or 77, which is just so insane. I mean, by the time that term ends, he might as well just run for presidency at this point too. And the people that have been around Carroll over the last few months have said that his energy is just off the charts. And Carroll was never ready to be done. He basically got kicked out of the Seahawks organization, but he was scratching and clawing, doing anything he possibly could, including laying and mapping out a plan to turn the franchise around to keep his job. But since the Seahawks decided to go a different direction, Carroll was waiting for his chance to get back into the NFL with another organization, and that time is now. So let's look at this roster and go over some of the strengths and weaknesses and what areas I would like to see the front office improve in the draft and in free agency. Alright, so hypothetically, let's say the Raiders enter next season with Russell Wilson and Shedeur Sanders. That immediately would be such an upgrade from O'Connell and Minshew. And first of all, outside of QB, just looking at this depth chart, there is a major hole at the running back position. They have nobody and had no production in 2024, and that put all the weight and pressure on the shoulders of the mediocre quarterbacks that they had. And there is one guy in this draft that could turn around this backfield, and his name is Ashton Jeanty. But that's only a pick that would happen if all the QBs are gone. And then at the receiver position, Jacoby Myers did break 1,000 yards, but really all the passing was through Brock Bowers, and he carried the offense. So over this offseason, in some way, shape, or form, another weapon has to be brought in. And then in terms of the offensive line, they ranked 23rd in the league, so not very much to write home about there, and the poor O-line play also contributed to why the backfield never had much production. Now looking at the defense, this was another area that was far from exceptional. And there were many positions they struggled at, so I'm just going to randomly start firing out names I think would be good signings. So first I have Carlton Davis, who has been one of the most consistently impressive cornerbacks in the league for years now. Davis will be one of the most expensive offseason movers, but Las Vegas has plenty of cap space. It's important to note that Davis missed the final month of the regular season due to a fractured jaw on the injury reserve. However, he is expected to fully recover, and these types of injuries don't usually have a significant impact on a corner's career. Next up on my list is Aaron Jones, and I think it's pretty obvious why. Not only would Jones be able to steady the ship in terms of getting this team back to league average in rushing, but he also would provide some pass catching as well. I know it may seem like the Raiders are far from ever even sniffing contention, but I mean, if they get a reasonable QB, and then can give Bowers the chance to become one of the best players in the league, and then you get Aaron Jones, who every now and then will be able to put up some production, and then you use that salary space to get a weapon, I think this team under Carroll could turn things around pretty fast. Another guy I could see the Raiders pursuing in free agency is T. Higgins, who pretty much every team wants right now, and despite trading Devontae Adams in the middle of the season, the Raiders did have some talent, but nothing came out of it due to quarterback play. And here's the thing, if the Raiders do want to get Higgins, then they gotta go get him. He is going to cost a pretty penny, and it is going to be a bidding war between a few teams. And even beyond these three, there are guys like Josh Sweat, Justin Fields, Landon Roberts, just so many options. So let me know what you would like to see happen. I really do feel like the Raiders are closer to getting out of the rabbit hole they are in than you would think. And it all starts with what happens over the next few months. That's really all I got for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you'd like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.
I first want to say I'm so fired up to be here with John, and because I know that first time around is really something, and so we're gonna celebrate this in a fantastic way. We're gonna partner in this thing. It's so important that our relationship is dynamic and extraordinary and true, and so you'll see that come in time. So nice job, man. Congrats. Being a kid that grew up in the Bay Area, and it's kind of my dad made me a Niners fan when we were going to Kezar Stadium back in the day, parking in Golden Gate Park, and then the Raiders came to town. And when you're in the Bay Area, you know you can take sides and all, but the Raiders captured me a long time ago, and I'm just filled with gratitude to be part of this.